Good morning, all. Today we are going to discuss the topic Goods, Service Tax and Customs Law. The topics are going to cover under this tax system in India, taxation, the objectives of taxation, types of tax, and the implementations of GST. What is tax? Tax represents the amount what we are going to pay for the government as a predefined tax and periodicity. The basic source of revenue is tax. The government uses this tax to provide various kinds of services to the taxpayers. The meaning of tax is derived from the Latin word taxo. Tax means to estimate, appreciate, or value. Tax is the amount what we paid to the persons by staying with the territorial limits to the sovereign state, and it is levied on the individuals, goods, property, business, and various types of services rendered. The tax is also defined as a compulsory exaction of money by public authorities, and it is enforceable for the public purpose. Taxation. It is the important source of revenue for the government in the word of taxes. The act of levying tax is called taxation. It is compulsory charge or a payment imposed by the government on individuals or the corporations. The person who paid tax have to pay the taxes irrespective of any corresponding returns from the goods or services by the government. The objectives of taxation is funding government, equity and redistribution, macroeconomic stabilization, behavioral changes, growth and competency. Four principles of effective design is simplicity, neutrality, stability, and flexibility. The three types of methods what we are coming under taxes: income tax, wealth tax, and expenditure tax. The types of tax. The taxes are classified into various types on the basis of form, nature, aim, and methods of taxation as per the government. In India, we are following only two types of tax system, that is common and traditional classification, which is classified into direct taxes and indirect taxes. These are the types of taxes under taxation system in India. Direct tax, we do have income tax, corporate tax, securities, transaction tax, wealth tax, capital gains tax. Indirect tax, we always impose with excise duty, customs duty, service tax, central sales tax, and value added tax. Now it is implemented with GST. Direct tax. Direct tax is nothing but the tax whose burden is borne by the same person on whom it is levied. It is ultimate burden of the taxation which falls on the person who liable to pay tax as an assessee. It is based on the income and property of the person. Income tax, corporation tax, on company's profit, property tax, capital gain tax, wealth tax are the examples of direct taxes. Direct tax, under this we always come across with income tax. Income tax, which is levied on an individual taxpayers on the basis of their salary slab system, which is given by the Union Finance Minister. The slab system was always different tax rates as prescribed for the different ranges of income peoples. The tax rate keeps increasing when an increase in the income of the taxpayer. Income tax slabs tends to undergo a change during every budget. Individuals aged less than 60 years, including resident or non-resident, resident senior citizens 60 to 80 years of age, senior super residents, resident senior super citizens aged more than 80. These are the categories of individuals how our Indian government has classified or categorized according to the taxpayers. Indirect tax. Indirect tax is the tax which is initially paid by one individual, but the burden of which is passed over to some other individual who ultimately bears it. It is levied on expenditure of a person. Excise duty, sales tax, customs tax are examples of indirect taxes. This is the Indian structure of indirect tax. So excise duty, which is scheduled under list 1, schedule 7, as the entry of 84. Service tax, customs duty, sales tax, value added tax or central sales tax. Indirect tax. Indirect tax is the taxation governed by the government of India according to the Schedule 7 of Constitution of India. They do have a three-tier system: the union government, the state government, including with urban, rural, and local bodies, and the concurrent list. Presently, goods are liable to VAT, excise, customs duty, while taxable services attract with service tax too. The certain transactions subject to value-added tax and service tax, which is revamped from the direct tax structure, Wealth Tax Act 1957. Efforts to bring in a single indirect system, the GST, is proposed. What is GST? Goods Service Tax. Goods what we purchase, service why we want to receive, tax when we want to pay. GST, Goods Service Tax, is a comprehensive tax which is initiated to follow for the national level value-added tax applicable on goods and services. GST is an indirect tax in lieu of tax on goods and tax on services. GST is just like state level value-added tax, which is levied on the sale of goods. GST is a tax payable on goods and services with a value addition at each and every stage when we are consuming the products, right from the purchase of raw materials until it makes into finished goods and reach to the customers. It is like a continuous chain set of benefits from the origin of the producers. It is a point of the dealers where the financial consumers bear the tax system. This is the journey of GST. Right from 2006, they have announced that they are going to form a one taxation system all over India. 2009, they made a first discussion with a paper and released the Empowered Committee. 2011, it is framed under the Constitution Amended Bill, and they have introduced this as a subsequent lapsed. Then 2014, under Constitution Bill 122, it is introduced under the Lok Sabha. 2017. Then September 16, they have had a multiple meetings of GST councils. How they are going to implement in all over India as a one taxation and one system. 2017 March, they framed the GST councils and recommended that CGST, SGST, and IGST, UTGST, and Compensation Cess Act. April 2017, they implemented all these and they have passed a committee or a council bill. May 2017, they have recommended all the rules and regulations, how they are going to follow with this GST. And 2017, 30th June, they have said that they're going to exclude Jammu and Kashmir under this GST. 1st July 2017, they have launched this GST, and still now we are following with the same process as one nation, one tax, one market system. Why does India need a GST? Because they want to make it easy of business. Even a small scalers can also do a business with the taxation systems, and they can make a export as competitive. And they also want to prevent the marketers from the cheaper imports, and they should not suffer from the discriminatory taxes, undue preferences, trade and non-trade barriers, entry taxes, octroi and check post. They also want to eliminate the complex tax structure, which multiple rates of taxes and multiple taxes across the supply chain. They also want to develop the country, India. They need to show the progressive tax policy and tax structure what we are following in our GST law forms a constitutional perspective which defines the definition for GST as mentioned in the Article 366(12)(a). Goods and service tax means any tax on supply of goods or services or both, except tax on the supply of the alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Here, it gives you the different definitions for goods, service, and state. Goods includes all materials, commodities, and articles. Services, any other goods or the widespread of services what they are rendering in the name of supply. GST Council, according to the article of 279A, how this GST Council is framed. It has some types of members. The first one is chairperson, which we will say as a always the Union Finance Minister will be the chairperson of this GST Council. So now our Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ma'am is the chairperson and followed by vice chairperson. It may be chosen among the ministries of state governments, and the members, all the finance ministers of the state and the finance ministers of taxation will be followed as a members. The quorum should have 50% of total members to take important decisions. The stage 2/3. Okay, the state 2/3 weightage and central 1/3 weightage is followed for the quorum members. Decision by 75% of the majority if they accept to implement anything under GST or they want to change something under the GST rules or regulations or the registrations, the decision may be taken as 75% of the majority. And the council always recommends on everything related to GST, including the laws, rules and rates, the place of supply, threshold limits, GST rates on goods and services, the special GST rates for certain states. Thank you.